mysterious nature and beautiful images. Magical beauty is painted by the brush, reincarnating thousands of palettes, the orchestra of life. This art can shine with all of its colors in fine art. One of the painters who is feeding the purity of this great art, a painter of bright pictures, a talented and gifted man, brave and sharp-sighted, the master and patriot of his country, Tursyn Abuov.
Турсyn Abuov принадлежит к тому поколению казахстанских художников, которые пришли в изобразительное искусство Казахстана в конце.
Tursyn Abuov belongs to the generation of the 1960s. He is one who describes the appearance of that time completely. He has got a lot of significant works devoted to different periods of time.
Tursyn Abuov смог так достойно представить изобразительное искусство этого времени и вплоть до этого периода.
The honored artist of the Republic of Kazakhstan has more than 200 works. The most famous of them are exhibited in the museum named after Abilkhan Kasteyev. Any work of the artist is historically significant and has intricate ideas. The artist has many portraits of many different famous people in his portrait gallery. His mother, the skillful poet and historian of Kazakh literature, Abay Kunanbayev, Shakarim Khudayberde-Joly, and the hero of the Great Patriotic War, Aliya Moldagulova, also are done in portrait. Talgat Begildinov, Sagadat Nurmagomedov, and many others also have their portrait works by this famous master. A well-known Kazakh artist is a representative who represents the 1960s in fine art. He spent his childhood during the war. That is why the Great Patriotic War plays an important role in his works.
Менің өміріме туралай қатысы бар. Себебі мен
The Great Patriotic War is closely connected with my life because I was brought up by my mom, and when I was 5, my dad left to the war. I don't remember that day exactly. My mother's brother, Abdil Tolibirgenov, also went to the war and didn't come back. My 37-year-old mom took me and my little sister Camilla and worked hard so that my sister and I didn't die of starvation. She had a lot of work and even had to mow.
Жетектеп және емшекте қалған қарындасым Камилда екеумізді қалай өлтіріп алмайын деп соғыс уақытында көптеген жұмыстарды істеп орақ орып.
The horrors of war still stay in the minds of Tursyn as an image. Today, the artist wants to devote one of his works to the 70-year anniversary of victory. You can understand the work of the artist easily without any details, that he has engaged in creative works without rest for a single year.
Мен осы Ұлы Отан соғысы туралы көптеген еңбек істедім. Бұл тақырыпқа ылғи әлгі суретшілер одағында тақырыптық көрмелер көп болатын. Соның әрқайсысын жібермей ылғи қатысып отыратын. Негізгі мына
In fact, I painted many pictures devoted to the Great Patriotic War. Several topical exhibitions took place in the Union of Artists, and I tried not to miss any of them. I started with portraits of the famous heroes of the Great Patriotic War, such as Aliya Moldagulova and Talgat Begildinov, Sagadat Nurmagomedov, and many other heroes. Then I moved on to topical themes. I painted some pictures such as Bread for the Front and Mother's Heart, and I signed a contract and sold them to museums. This year we have 70-year anniversary of the Great Patriotic War. I started my work called Defenders of the Fatherland, devoted to it since last year. I decided to collect my experience, and today you can see it.
Тәжірибемді жинап, жазайыншы деп осыны алып, осы картинаны.
This is the 70th anniversary of the Great Victory Day. This is victory. Hearing the news on May 9, 1945, the whole world was shocked. All the nations of the world were happy to hear it. All the citizens of the Soviet Union were striving for victory for 5 years. 1,418 days and nights. The master of brushstrokes describes this above time. The artist in his work Defenders of the Fatherland allocated this image of the following heroes: the protagonist of the picture, his uncle, and the commander of the cavalry, Abdil Tolipbergenov, the Kazakh brave girl Aliya Moldagulova, and the two-time hero of the Soviet Union, Chernyakhovsky. This artistic worker in his picture describes the blue sky, as well as Talgat Begoldinov flying in the sky in an airplane. On the face of the hero flying, there is like an eagle in the sky, and we can notice his confidence, his bravery in the future. The artist might have added the dreams of his hero in his childhood, in which he wanted to get victory and peace.
Талғаттың сол қанша рет ұшып Москва үшін
I imagine Talgat flying to Moscow several times. I took close-up pictures of the plane, and I wrote it myself. Everything should be figurative. If, to look at the picture from this side, Talgat is like a hero from his destiny. He has great characteristics. He is tireless and tenacious. He flew 300 times and always came back safe.
Характерный өте бір алғыры қанша рет ұшты дейді мысалы. 300 бірнеше рет ұшқан ылғи аман келіп отырған.
The picture is rich in red and blue palette. The fascist dropping down through the sky is a point towards victory.
Картинаның колоритін соғысқа жақындату керек қой енді.
The coloring of this picture must be close to war. We must connect red, the hot and cold, with one another. For example, war is cold, and the heart of the country is hot, its heroes and its veterans.
Мына батырлардың, ардагерлердің жүрегі мысалы.
It is true that the war brought great disaster for humanity. Its consequences cost us a great deal. Mothers lost their sons and children lost their fathers. How many people lost their families' warmth? And the destinies of the children who lost their father's warmth caused a great problem in their hearts. Tursyn Abuov has another picture devoted to the Second World War. One of them is a painting called Bread for the Front, kept in the museum named after Ablehan Kasteyev.
У нас в музее хранятся несколько работ этого мастера, посвященных войне. Это, например, одна из них работа «Как хлеб фронту».
Most of the works of the artist are kept in the museum. One of them is the painting Bread for the Front. It is a large composition. The meaning of the composition is very deep. There is a war in the front, and on the other side are the lives of women and children. Grannies are described in the painting. They also worked very hard and didn't have any fun. You can see a woman reading the black list, and a boy gathering for the harvest, as well as an old man. We can also see a man coming back from the front. He doesn't have legs and he's standing on crutches. As the painter saw all of this with his own eyes, he could express the reality in this composition.
Говорил Турсyn Abuov, все события он видел сам своими глазами, поэтому он смог так достоверно отобразить вот такое вот событие уже в годы войны и посвятить эту работу именно войне.
The author described the image which he saw with his own eyes. As you know, during the Great Patriotic War, women stayed home without their men. Women and children were given many responsibilities. They sent milk, bread, meat, oil, and knitted clothes to the front.
Ondağı aytar oyum, жаңағы балалық шақты еске алып, өзім көзім көрді ерді.
I remember my childhood and I tried to describe it. I added Kenan Azerbayev to the middle of the picture. The image of women during the war is described by those who work hard to get victory. I described old men, women, and I myself gathering in the harvest.
Масақ теріп жүрген уақытындағы дорбаменен жаңа соны келтірдім.
Our hero Tursyn had many other artistic works besides this painting. The house and yard where he lives is like a museum. He tries not to throw away wood or stones, and he makes wonderful creations.
Суретші болғаннан кейін ол тек қана бір неменен тұрмайды жаңағы.
I do not limit myself to drawing and painting. Many ideas enter my mind, and I want to make things out of ceramics, for example. You can see, for example, this sculpture. When the wood is picked up, something is prompting itself. What is it devoted for?
Неге келеді? Мынау портретке келеді, мынау бір неге келеді.
For example, this is for a portrait, and this one is for something else. Once the versatile artist found a rotting round pine. He eliminated the rotten part, and he chipped 3 generations onto the surface of the wood.
Tepkin ağaçta üşürdü жатыр еді іші. İçinden bәрі түсіп қалған сыртынан да. Осыны ойлап.
Dried wood was just lying there. Everything in the middle was dropped out, and only the exterior was left. I thought a lot, and my composition to describe 3 generations came into my mind. It consists of 3 parts. The first one is old age, and then yesterday's period.
Бұл да 3 bölükten тұрады мағынасы жаңағы.
The creative works of this artist are going to remain topical for all time. For example, Tursyn Abuov's sculpture of a batir. Fighting with a 3-headed dragon in a garden means the fight with corruption. Each brick of this house is dear to him because it was made by him from the beginning of the foundation. He says that he is going to continue his memories about the Great Patriotic War.
Жыл сайын сол бір әртүрлі ойлар келіп, өшірді. Осы болашақ өсіп келе жатқан жастар.
Every year I come up with new ideas. I want to leave a museum and build sculptures for the young generation and for people who live in the villages so that they will never forget about it.
Бір ескерткіш болсын дегендей ойменен сондай қимылдап жатқан жайымыз бар.
The motto of the compatriot is that everything is for the front. It helped them to unite by their bravery, to stay in their memories forever. On the way to the victory, the Kazakh soldiers marched into the battlefield and fought for their homeland. Many Kazakh men were named as heroes of the country, and the nation is very proud of them. Today, the number of these old men is decreasing. When the people who passed through the war tell their stories, we imagine the insidious war. Tursyn Abuov's portraits, the paintings that are going to be saved, are a history forever. It is clear, even though many years have passed, that the heroism of our soldiers and the heroes in these images of those people who are on the front lines will take their place in the history of the country.